In a recent debate on Fox 26, John Whitmire, who's currently running against Sheila Jackson Lee for mayor, attempted to do a rope-a-dope on Sheila Jackson Lee using our current mayor, Sylvester Turner. To be clear, both Sylvester Turner and Jackson Lee are black. They're two African Americans. Now, you know the character of a person when they use this classic technique, which thankfully Sylvester Turner saw it right away and called it out with a 7-minute or so monologue at City Hall. But let me prep it for a bit. In effect, what Whitmire did was lied about Sylvester Turner's record as far as who he hires to head departments. Whitmire, or rather, Sylvester Turner has been very open. Look, I am not necessarily a huge fan of Sylvester Turner. I'm not a huge fan of any of these, what I call establishment politicians. But when it comes to diversity, Sylvester Turner made sure that his administration reflected Houston. The chief of police was Latino, and the head of the fire department, Latino, etc. He brings in people of all different ethnicities because that's who our city is. But of course, more recently, the chief of police has been black. And what Whitmire was trying to do is highlight the heads of the divisions that are currently getting a lot of attention, who turns out to be black, by then triangulating Sheila Jackson Lee into the discussion by saying, look at what this guy has done, who his heads are. You bring Sheila in, it's not going to represent the diversity that we have in Houston. After all, I don't see Asians, and he starts to create these identities that don't really reflect what Sylvester Turner has done throughout his administration, but an instant in time, right? It is a classic thing that is done by politicians who, while not necessarily racist themselves, understands that there's a certain racial angst within the population, and they try to utilize it so that when that person goes to vote, they think, I have this little thing here, and the racialization, the carnality comes out. It's a nasty move. And it's so subtle that if you don't understand these concepts, it is so subtle the way it is done that once again, often it works. Not this time. I love the way Sylvester Turner called it out. Check it out. And also calling out the media who has given Whitmire a pass for the dog whistles that he has been using throughout the campaign. Let's listen to Sylvester Turner.
And then to talk about conflicts, my God. You want to talk about conflicts? I've been a lawyer at a major law firm. I've been a partner in another 32. I worked for my money. I've been to the courthouse. I've tried cases. I've had clients. I've consulted. I've worked and written briefs. I got paid for what I did. Not just sit in an office and then wait for folk to come to you because you're in the Senate. And the media knows this too. So when we start looking at folk, do people just look at me just because I'm sitting in this chair and the way I look? And we don't look at other folk and their conflicts. We don't talk about other people and their known conflicts. Is it just people like me that get evaluated? Just me? So you're going to let other people talk about conflicts? And he's been sitting there for 50 years and nobody wants to talk about his conflicts? Where is the equity in coverage? And let me just say, all of my life, my parents told me you have to dot every I, you have to cross every T, you have to stay clearly within the lines, you have to run faster, work harder, and be better. That's all my life my parents said that to me. But other folk can operate in their own little world with their own conflicts, and it's okay. It's all right. The reason I'm bringing this up, the Chronicle wrote about it this morning. And then lastly, what I'm going to say, when I ran, every facet of my life, the media talked about. When I got a ticket for not having an inspection sticker, the media wrote about it. Every facet, everything was covered by the media. Here's somebody who's been sitting there for 50 years, and he gets a pass because I guess it's all right. But dog whistles, I know a dog whistle. I know a dog whistle. Now, I'm not on the ballot. We need to focus on people on the ballot. But I am going to defend my record here at City Hall. Now, I'm going to do that. And quite frankly, after 8 years, I shouldn't have to do that by myself. The media knows. I shouldn't even have to say it. Why do I have to say it when I've been here for 8 years and the media and everybody else have seen the people I have appointed? Almost on every board and commission, we make sure that there's diversity. You all have seen them. On every board, commission, TERS, management district, we work hard to make sure there's diversity. Because that's a reflection of this city. So, disappointed with that. I'm through with it. Oh, and then let me just talk about Papas, since he brought that up too. So you want us to just give a contract because you like that person when they didn't score? And when it's gone through the court systems and the judge validated what the city did? So what's your plan? Undo everything and just give stuff away when you get here? Well, maybe to the extent he get here, maybe he will be able to be allowed to do it because number one, I don't want to do it, but I know I can't do it. But maybe if he gets here, maybe he'll be allowed to do it and it will be okay. Yesterday at the Georgia Brown, we had a male summit. We had about 300 to 400 young guys and trying to keep them on the straight and narrow. Tell them you can be all that your talent will allow you to be. But we also have to remind them, and it's important, life is not fair. And don't expect in so many ways to be treated fairly. That's a difficult lesson to tell young folk, but it's one they need to hear. Don't necessarily be expected to be treated fairly. But you still, as my mama would say, you still have to navigate through the system. And in many cases, you have to smile when you don't feel like smiling. And you have to laugh when you don't feel like laughing. Because if you come across as an angry person, then that's the clip that will be shown. So you have to smile when you don't feel like smiling. And oftentimes, you have to let things go because people don't want to hear all of that. I've learned that. I'm 69 years old. I've learned that. But there comes a point in time, especially coming up at the last part of my term as mayor for 8 years, I've held a whole lot in. But these sort of attacks coming at the end, I won't let go. I won't do that because there's somebody coming after me. And collectively, we've worked hard to move this city in the right direction and to hold this city together. And you can run, but there are certain things you don't have to do. And you don't have to give dog whistles in order to gain an advantage. And we need to call it when we see it. Because otherwise, it may be on this side today, but it'll happen to somebody else down the road.
Let me tell you something, right? Many times the current Democratic Party would want one to make believe that the Democratic Party is this inclusive party, which is what its tenets represent. But many of the establishment actors within the party, and inclusive many of the ones who consider themselves progressives within the party, generally are poor representatives of what diversity really means. They know how to articulate and talk about it. I've written articles about what has happened to yours truly at several progressive conferences throughout the country. And I've spoken about sometimes even getting better treatment in conservative circles because they want to show me that, you know what? Don't listen to all what progressives say about us. But again, Whitmire, we've been talking about Whitmire being a pseudo Republican for a long time, a pseudo and what that represents as a policy. And he proves it every single time. He proves it every single time. He talks about being able to work with Austin as if you can work with Austin. You have to simply work alongside all. You cannot bring these people into the fold because they are beyond the fold. I am so happy that Sylvester Turner addressed it the way that he did.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.